Galaxy Quest, the 1999 sci-fi comedy inspired by Star Trek and starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and Alan Rickman. Considering how poor Star Trek Insurrection was, released the year before this film, this really was the Star Trek movie I wanted to see, similarly to how The Orville is the Star Trek show I've been waiting for. In preparation for this review, I obviously rewatched it recently, and it holds up perfectly. An extremely entertaining action movie, great visual effects, wonderful chemistry between the cast, a wonderful satirical take on sci-fi conventions and fandoms, and solid gags throughout. So here's the story. During the 1980s, a popular cult sci-fi TV series similar to Star Trek called Galaxy Quest was cancelled, and the cast of the show were largely typecast afterwards. Now the washed-up, out-of-work actors spend their days on the convention circuit signing autographs for obsessed nerdy fans. They're all pretty jaded and cynical at this stage, with Alan Rickman's character particularly disgruntled. He played the resident alien on the show. He's a classically trained Shakespearean theatre actor who sacrificed his credibility and the respect of his peers in the industry for a steady paycheck in a cheesy Hollywood science fiction show. His resentment is supposed to echo that of some of the Star Trek cast who felt typecast afterwards, most notably Leonard Nimoy. He now lowers himself to opening electronic stores and repeating the same old tired catchphrase over and over again. Tim Allen's character of Jason Nesmith once played Commander Peter Quincy Taggart, the main character on the show. He's now become a drunk, though his Shatner-like ego enjoys the attention and devotion of the fans a little too much. Similarly to the relationship Shatner had with his co-stars, Nesmith and the other Galaxy Quest cast have their fair share of differences, particularly because Nesmith has a habit of hogging the limelight a little too much. During one sci-fi convention, Nesmith is approached by a group of seemingly obsessed and socially awkward fans. He believes they want him to take part in some kind of fan production, which he later agrees to. In truth, they're actually real aliens from the planet Thermia. They make use of holograms in order to disguise their actual hideous tentacled appearance. They enlist the help of the Galaxy Quest cast to help negotiate with their adversary Saris, who wants to get his hands on the Omega-13, a mysterious device mentioned in an episode of the original TV series. The simple Thermians are unable to grasp concepts like deception and lying and have received humanity's TV broadcasts and interpreted the fictional Galaxy Quest show as some kind of historical documents. They have based their entire society around the universe of the show and have constructed a working version of the NSEA Protector starship and recreated many of the same technologies. The cast are obviously freaked at the idea that they're now aboard a real-life working version of the ship and traveling through space. And as they're only actors and not real astronauts, they're not qualified to command the ship, let alone protect the Thermians against a menacing military commander like Saris. So Nesmith and co. have to essentially wing it and use their memory of various situations from the TV series as inspiration. Part of the fun of this movie is seeing these actors trying to rise to the occasion and discover if there's anything of their TV counterpart within them to draw on. Their complete incompetence in the beginning obviously makes for some hilarious moments, but what's really at the heart of this film is all the in-jokes and references to classic sci-fi and Star Trek conventions. One such example is the character of Guy, who fears dying on the planet because he played a kind of red shirt extra on the show who was killed off, and he thinks he may be in a similar situation now. His commentary throughout the movie and constant callbacks to sci-fi cliches is hilarious. During the initial attack from Saris, the Protector is heavily damaged after traveling through a minefield, so the crew is forced to travel to an alien planet to retrieve a beryllium sphere, which is the ship's power core. In a scene that's inspired by many a Star Trek episode, and not unlike Kirk's battle with the Gorn, Nesmith demonstrates some of the heroic qualities of his fictional counterpart, fighting a pig lizard and then a giant rock monster while being watched by the hostile inhabitants of the planet. After he's successfully rescued by Freddie Kwan, who beams him aboard without turning him inside out, unlike the pig lizard, Saris boards the Protector, sets a core overload, and opens an oxygen seal that could kill the crew. Gwen and Nesmith manage to shut down the core overload, which requires the assistance of some fans back on Earth. The Protector was built to the exact specifications of the TV series and includes ridiculously unnecessary amounts of ducts, tunnels, dangerous obstacles and hazards, and even a countdown clock that always stops with 1 second to go. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew fight to defeat Saris's men and save the Thermians from suffocation, and it's here that Alan Rickman's character of Alexander Dane, who played Dr. Lazarus, realizes the positive effect his character had on Quillic, one of the Thermians. No longer aggravated by the catchphrase his character used to utter, Dane tells Quillic just before his death, "By Grapthar's hammer, by the sons of Worvan, you shall be avenged." He then proceeds to beat the hell out of the alien who had shot and killed Quillic. Nesmith and the rest of the cast manage to destroy Saris's ship by attracting magnetic mines from the minefield and sending them in his direction. But Saris beams aboard the Protector and shoots the entire bridge crew. Nesmith has no choice but to take a chance on the Omega-13 device, activating it and traveling back in time 13 seconds, allowing him enough time to stop Saris. Afterwards, the Protector breaks in two, allowing the command module to land on Earth, crashing directly into another fan convention. Saris wakes up and tries to kill them one last time, but Nesmith shoots him, much to the cheers of the adoring fans. This time, Nesmith refuses to take all the credit for himself and shares a bow with his co-stars. The film ends with an opening credit sequence for a new series of Galaxy Quest. This film is a favourite with sci-fi fans and pokes fun at the genre in a way that isn't mean-spirited. It also celebrates the love that fans have for shows like Star Trek, but does it by being sufficiently self-aware and not breaking the fourth wall in any major eye-rolling way. The reactions of the actors in the various situations they find themselves in feels genuine and almost realistic. The film also accurately depicts the hardcore-obsessed fringe element that attends fan conventions. Everyone puts in a solid performance, but the two standout elements of this movie for me would be the adversarial relationship between Nesmith and Dane, played brilliantly for laughs by Tim Allen and Alan Rickman, and Sam Rockwell's Guy Fleegman, as I've mentioned. Tim Allen essentially plays two characters brilliantly in this movie. The egotistic Shatner-like character of Nesmith on one side, and the other side being Peter Quincy Taggart. And I say this because Alan would have made a really awesome Star Trek captain. Nesmith is also the one actor among the Galaxy Quest cast who seems the most comfortable with attempting to take on his character's role in the real world. If I was attempting to highlight any criticisms of the movie, I think I'd just be nitpicking, as I honestly can't think of anything I don't like about Galaxy Quest. It's a comedy that's actually funny, which is a rare thing these days, and a sci-fi movie that will satisfy most sci-fi fans on a lot of levels. There's some great character moments, sufficient amounts of quality action, excellent special effects, brilliant performances, a simple but original story concept, and the film is paced and edited perfectly. Galaxy Quest is a real gem of a movie.